Have you ever stopped thinking about how the smallest things we do in the morning could quietly become the biggest risks as we get older? I mean, really think about it. You wake up. You sit up in bed. Maybe you rush to the bathroom. You grab your morning pills. Or maybe you skip breakfast because, well, you're just not feeling hungry yet. It all seems so normal, right? It's your routine. It's what you've been doing for years. But here's the thing no one talks about. The same routine that once gave you energy and focus could now be silently setting you up for weakness, dizziness, or even a sudden fall. And the scariest part? Most people, yes, even loving family members and caregivers, don't even realize it's happening. Slightly firmer tone, with concern, it's not their fault. It's just that we're rarely told how the body changes in the later stages of life. What was once safe, suddenly isn't. What seemed like a harmless habit became dangerous. And often, it's only when something bad happens, like a fainting spell or a bad fall, that people start connecting the dots. But by then, it can be too late. Gentle pause, empathetic tone, and that's why you're here. Because you care. You want to know the truth before it turns into regret, whether it's for yourself or someone you love. Calm but focused tone. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 critical things seniors should absolutely avoid doing first thing in the morning. These are things that many people still do without knowing the risks. But once you understand them, you'll see how powerful and even life-saving it can be to simply change how the day begins. And make sure you stick around for number 4. That one catches almost everyone off guard, even experienced caregivers. Because this isn't just about information. It's about empowering you with simple, smart habits that can protect your health, bring peace of mind, and help you or your loved one feel stronger and safer every single day. Warm, inviting tone, and hey, if you're here because you want to create a safer, healthier morning for yourself or someone close to your heart, type "I'm here" in the comments to let me know you're part of this caring community. And don't forget to subscribe to Elderly Healthy Wisdom so you never miss weekly tips that could make a real difference. Let's dive in. Mr. James, 74 years old. Every morning, like clockwork, he wakes up around 6 a.m. The house is quiet. The sun's barely up. This particular morning, he wakes with that familiar urgency, the kind we all get when nature calls. He swings his legs over the bed, stands up fast without thinking, and begins to take his first step. And then, he's on the floor. He doesn't even remember falling. All he knows is, 1 second he was fine, and the next, he's waking up in pain, confused, and frightened. Later, in the hospital, they tell him he blacked out, fell hard, broke his hip, and now, he's facing months of recovery and a serious hit to his independence. Calm, explanatory tone. Now, here's the truth behind what happened to Mr. James and why it happens to so many seniors. As we age, our bodies lose some of their quick responsibilities. One of those responses is blood pressure regulation. So when a senior goes from lying down to standing up too fast, the body doesn't always adjust in time. Blood rushes downward. The brain doesn't get enough oxygen, and boom, dizziness, fainting, or a fall. It's called orthostatic hypotension, a fancy term, but what it really means is this. Your blood pressure drops when you change positions too quickly. Slightly firmer tone, and here's where so many people go wrong. They assume it's nothing. Oh, he just stood up too fast. She's probably just tired. Or worse, it's just part of getting old. But that mindset, that's exactly how preventable accidents become life-altering ones. Supportive, solution-focused tone. So let me give you a better habit, something simple, something that works. I call it the pause and rise routine. When you or your loved one wakes up, don't rush. First, open your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Then, slowly sit up. Just sit. Don't move further yet. Count to 10. Dangle your legs over the side of the bed and wiggle your toes a bit. Then, and only then, stand up slowly, using support if needed. This one small change in routine can reduce the risk of morning falls dramatically. It's not about doing less. It's about doing things smarter. Smooth transition, slightly curious tone. And while how you move out of bed is incredibly important, what you do next with that movement can also make a surprising difference. Let's talk about that next. Now let's talk about something that seems healthy, but can actually do more harm than good. Meet Ms. Rose. She's 69, vibrant, and always health conscious. Every morning, without fail, she rolled out her yoga mat and did her usual routine. Neck rolls, downward dog, deep twists. She believed in staying active, and rightly so. But one morning, mid-neck twist, something felt off. The room spun. Her balance disappeared. She had to lie down. And for the next 3 days, she felt dizzy and off-center, like her body wasn't catching up with her movements. What happened? Calm, clear explanation. As we age, the body naturally becomes stiffer overnight. Joints tighten, muscles settle, circulation slows while we sleep. So even though morning exercise sounds like a great way to start the day, jumping into intense movement right after waking up, especially twists, bends, or stretches that pull on the spine and neck, can shock the system. Think of your body like a car that's been parked in the cold all night. Would you hop in, slam the gas, and go 80 miles per hour right away? Of course not. You'd let the engine warm up. And your body deserves the same respect. Gently correcting misconception. Now I know what some of you might be thinking, but stretching is good for me. It gets me going. And you're not wrong. Stretching is helpful. Movement is vital. But the type of movement, and when you do it, makes all the difference. The mistake is doing too much, too soon. Especially movements that involve twisting the neck or bending too quickly. Practical, simple solution. So here's what I recommend instead. Start your day with gentle movements in bed. Yes, in bed. Try slowly rotating your ankles. Do small, soft arm circles. Take a few deep, full breaths, hold for a count of 3, and exhale slowly. Maybe lightly shrug your shoulders. Let your body wake up before you ask it to perform. Then, once you're up and have moved around for a while, that's the time for more structured exercises, like walking, stretches, or yoga. Give your joints the kindness of patience. Smooth transition, warm tone. And now that we've covered how we move in the morning, let's talk about something just as routine, but far more overlooked. Your medication. Yes, even the timing of how and when you take your pills can make a surprising difference. Let me share something that came straight from one of our viewers. She reached out and told me about her father, an 82-year-old man who kept feeling nauseous every single morning. No appetite, queasy, sometimes lightheaded. At first, the family thought it was just aging, or maybe nerves, or even a touch of the flu. But after weeks of watching him suffer, they finally looked deeper. And you know what it turned out to be? He was taking all his medications right after waking up on an empty stomach. No food, no water, just pills and pain. Steady explanation, with warmth now. Let me explain why that matters so much. As we get older, our stomach lining becomes more sensitive. And many medications, especially things like blood pressure pills, certain painkillers, or even supplements, can be harsh when there's no food to cushion them. Some meds need food so they can be absorbed properly. Others can literally irritate the stomach wall if taken alone. And that nausea, that dizziness, that loss of appetite, it might not be the medication itself. It could be how you're taking it. Gently confronting the common mistake. Now, here's the trap many seniors fall into. They think, the earlier I take my meds, the better. They want to be responsible, consistent. They set that morning alarm and get right to it. But doing it too early, without any food or fluid, can backfire. The very routine that's meant to protect their health ends up undermining it. Practical advice, kind and clear. So here's what you can do. First, double-check your medication instructions. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor. Ask clearly, should I take this with food or on an empty stomach? And second, consider using a morning pill organizer, one that's labeled not just by day, but by time and meal. You can even add small reminders like, take with breakfast, or wait 30 minutes before food, depending on the instructions. And one more thing, don't be afraid to eat something small first. Even a few crackers, a slice of banana, or a warm cup of tea can make a big difference in how your stomach handles your medication. Smooth, natural transition, and that leads us perfectly into the next point. Because if you're taking your medication, but skipping this next step, you might still be weakening your entire day without even realizing it. Let's talk about breakfast. Now let's talk about a morning habit that gets overlooked far too often. Skipping breakfast. Let me tell you about Mr. Ali. He's 76, sharp-minded, still reads the paper every morning. But he believed that fasting kept him feeling lighter, more focused, more clean, as he liked to put it. So he'd wake up, sip some water, maybe take his meds, and head into the day. No toast, no fruit, not even tea. But by noon, he was dragging. His steps got slower. He'd forget small things. Sometimes he'd feel a strange shakiness in his hands, or even momentary confusion. Eventually, his daughter took him to see a doctor. And the problem wasn't some complicated condition, it was simple. He was skipping breakfast. Kind and informative explanation. Now here's the thing. As we age, our body's ability to regulate blood sugar becomes less efficient. We don't store energy the same way we used to. So when you go all night without eating and then start your day without fueling up, you're essentially running on empty. And that can lead to low blood sugar, mood swings, poor concentration, muscle weakness, and yes, even falls. Because when your brain isn't fully fueled, your balance and coordination suffer. And we all know, just one fall can change everything. Common misconception. Spoken with understanding. Now, I know what many seniors say, but I'm not hungry in the morning. And yes, reduced appetite is common in older adults. But here's the truth. Not feeling hungry doesn't always mean your body doesn't need food. Sometimes, it's a sign of something else going on, maybe medications affecting taste or a slow digestive system. Other times, it's simply a habit that formed over the years and just needs a gentle reset. Gentle, realistic solution. So here's a simple tip. Don't think of breakfast as a full meal. Think of it as a gentle nudge to your system, something that tells your body, we're starting the day. Let's wake up right. Even just half a banana, a small bowl of oatmeal, a slice of toast with a little peanut butter, or a warm cup of tea with a biscuit can give your body and brain the fuel it needs to function at its best. And over time, you might be surprised at how that tiny habit helps everything else fall into place. Better focus, more strength, fewer dizzy spells. Smooth transition to the final point. Now, we've talked about movement. We've talked about meds. We've talked about food. But there's one last mistake, one that's harder to see, one that hides in plain sight and can quietly shape the way the entire day unfolds. Let's talk about the very first thoughts that enter a senior's mind in the morning. Because mindset, my friend, is more powerful than we think. Let's talk about something that slips under the radar. What we feed the mind first thing in the morning. There was a woman who reached out to us. Let's call her Angela. She shared something about her 82-year-old mother that really stuck with me. Every morning, her mom would sit by the window with her glasses on, tea in hand, and the newspaper folded neatly beside her. It was a peaceful image, at least from the outside. But after a few weeks, Angela started noticing something. Her mom's hands would tremble ever so slightly. She looked tense, eyebrows furrowed, lips pressed tight. And by midday, she'd be pacing the room, murmuring about politics, crime, rising prices, things she couldn't control, but couldn't seem to stop thinking about. It hit Angela one morning when she walked in and found her mom visibly shaken, just from reading a headline. The day hadn't even started, and already her mind was clouded with fear. Explanation, spoken gently, like connecting puzzle pieces for the listener. Here's something many people don't realize. Cortisol, that's our body's natural stress hormone, is already elevated in the early hours of the day. It's part of our biological rhythm. It helps wake us up, get us moving, stay alert. But when you mix that natural spike with a flood of negative information, wars, disasters, political chaos, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. For seniors, especially those who live alone or feel disconnected, this kind of mental input doesn't just inform, it impacts. It can trigger anxiety, deepen depression, or spark a feeling of helplessness that lingers all day. Misconception, delivered with understanding, not judgment. Now, I get it. Many seniors grew up in a time when reading the newspaper was the way to stay informed. They feel like skipping it means they're falling behind or turning their backs on the world. But the truth is, staying informed is only helpful when it's balanced. Without that balance, it becomes a quiet weight pressing down on their mental well-being. Practical solution, spoken like offering a gift of peace. So here's a gentle suggestion. Swap the morning news habit, just for the first hour of the day. Try replacing it with soft instrumental music or nature sounds, a short morning walk. Even if it's just to the porch, a simple gratitude journal. 3 things to be thankful for, or even a call to a loved one or grandchild to start the day with a smile. It doesn't mean ignoring the world. It just means choosing peace over panic. Calm over chaos at the most delicate time of day. And you'll be amazed how something so small can shift the entire mood of the morning. From anxious and tense to steady, light, and hopeful. Smooth transition, warm, reflective tone. Now you might be thinking, these don't sound like big things. sitting up slowly, eating something small, skipping the news, what difference do they really make? But here's the truth. When you stack these tiny changes, one on top of the other, morning after morning, you don't just change a routine, you change a life. And that's what we're really here for, helping our elders not just survive each day, but feel good living it. Let's bring it all together. It's heartbreaking to realize how everyday routines, things we've done for decades without a second thought, can quietly, slowly, even silently harm someone we love. Something as simple as jumping out of bed too quickly, skipping a light meal, or reading the morning headlines can change the entire course of a senior's day. Not because they're weak, but because aging changes the rules of how our bodies and minds respond to routine. Maybe you've seen it already. A parent who's suddenly more tired than usual. A grandparent who gets dizzy in the mornings. Or a loved one who seems more anxious lately, and you just can't put your finger on why. That's the emotional weight of caregiving. That's the quiet fear we carry when we don't know what's safe anymore. But this isn't about fear. It's about awareness. It's about being prepared. It's about choosing to act with love, not panic. Now, you have tools, real, simple, powerful steps that can prevent falls, reduce confusion, and help the seniors in your life feel more in control of their day. You don't need a medical degree. You don't need complicated routines. You just need presence. A moment of observation, a tiny shift in habit. So here's what I invite you to do today. Don't wait for a fall. Don't wait for the ER visit. Don't wait until someone says, "I wish I had noticed this sooner." Check in. Take 5 minutes tomorrow morning. See how your loved one starts their day. Are they rushing out of bed? Are they skipping food? Are they silently absorbing stress from a glowing screen? These things might seem small, but they add up. And when you change just one, you open the door to more strength, more calm, more joy. And if you're caring for yourself in your older years, let this be a reminder. You deserve to feel good in the morning. You deserve clarity, balance, and peace, not fear and fog. You're not alone in this journey. You're part of a quiet, caring community that wants what you want: dignity, safety, and love in every season of life. Every effort counts. Every gentle reminder matters. Because the best kind of care doesn't always come from hospitals or medicine. Sometimes it starts with a cup of tea, a slower breath, and a wiser morning. And that is powerful. Would you like me to continue with the call to action and engagement, 1630 to 1930 section next? Let's take a moment to go back over what we've learned, because sometimes the smallest reminders are the most powerful. The 5 things seniors should avoid doing first thing in the morning. Number 1, getting out of bed too fast. It seems harmless, but for aging bodies, it can trigger dizziness, fainting, and falls. Number 2, stretching or exercising too aggressively. Waking up tight and stiff is normal, but forcing the body too quickly? That's how injuries happen. Number 3, taking medication on an empty stomach. This one surprises many people. Some pills need food to work well, or to avoid stomach pain altogether. Number 4, skipping breakfast. Even a small snack matters. Fuel in the morning supports energy, focus, and stability throughout the day. And finally, number 5, consuming stressful news first thing. What we feed the mind is just as important as what we feed the body, especially in those quiet, vulnerable early hours. These may seem like little things, but for our seniors, your parents, your grandparents, maybe even you, they mean the difference between a calm morning and a chaotic one. So now, I want to hear from you. Which of these surprised you the most? Have you seen any of these habits in a loved one? Or maybe you've experienced them yourself? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. Your story might help someone else feel a little less alone. And if this video helped you, if something in here clicked or gave you clarity, then imagine what future videos could bring. More peace, more confidence, more simple ways to care without feeling overwhelmed. So go ahead and subscribe to Elderly Healthy Wisdom, where every week we share tips, stories, and gentle reminders that empower you to care wisely and live kindly. Thank you, truly, for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for choosing love over fear. Stay strong, stay compassionate, stay wise, and I'll see you in the next video.